Hi, English 205. So one thing that we would have, sorry, my dog is being very loud. Okay, and I just do my videos in one take, so sorry, you're just gonna have to deal. Okay, he went into his bed. Everything's fine. All right, so one thing that we would have been doing this week, had we been in class, in having real in-person classes, is doing a little bit of brainstorming or free writing for the reflective letter portion of the final portfolio. So I just want to remind you again that this portion of the final portfolio is super, super, super important. Please give it a lot of thought and put a lot of time and work into it. Don't think of it as like just something you can throw together last minute and stick on the final portfolio. I want to see a lot of care and attention and thoughtfulness going into this reflective letter portion of the assignment. So this video is going to involve you doing some writing. So please have a Word document open on your laptop, or if you prefer to write by hand, have a notebook and a pen, something to write with. Also know ahead of time that I'm going to be asking you to do about 15 minutes of writing. So make sure that you have that amount of time available to you. As always, get what you need to write, if that's coffee, tea, water, music, whatever it is, but you will be doing some writing. I hope. I can't really force you, but I'm hoping that you will, and I'm hoping it'll be helpful for the reflective letter portion of the final portfolio. So I'm going to give you a prompt. What I would like you to do is, after I give you the prompt, to pause this video and write on that prompt for 3 minutes. So set a timer, put your phone away, and just force yourself, like pretending you were in class and I just said, write on this prompt for 3 minutes, and I set a timer. You would do it if you were in class, right? No questions asked, you just do it. That's the beauty of a class. I can make you do things. And I can't really reach through the computer and make you do it, but I'm hoping that you will anyway. I mean, if you're watching this video, then you're one step closer. So, okay, so you have your materials for writing in front of you. So what I want you to write on for 3 minutes, you're going to set your timer and try to write the whole time. And if you go on a tangent or whatever, that's fine. You just like basically writing whatever comes to mind, okay? Not censoring yourself, turning off the critic in your mind that says this is stupid, just keep writing. So the first thing I want you to write about, prompt number 1, is to describe yourself as a writer. What were you like as a writer before this class? So what kind of writing did you do in your own time? Did you do any? What was your experience as a writer before this class? Had you ever written poetry? How long had it been? Had you written creative nonfiction before? So what were you like as a writer before this class? 3 minutes, pause me now. Okay, so if you've unpaused me, that means that 3 minutes have passed and you wrote about that topic. And so now I'm going to give you another topic. So what I want you to write about this time around is how you have changed as a writer going through this class. So these past, how many weeks? 15 weeks? It seems like a long time, but since we started way back in January, another lifetime ago, how have you changed as a writer? What has changed for you? How do you write differently now? Maybe you found that you like writing poetry more than you thought, or you still don't like it, but maybe you found that you really enjoyed creative nonfiction, or maybe you use a lot more imagery now than you did before, or maybe you use more dialogue or whatever, or you don't always write chronologically. So how has our time together, in person and online, changed you as a writer? So again, setting the timer for 3 minutes and pause me now. Okay, so unpause. I'm going to give you a third prompt, and I hope that you're not sick of writing yet and that you're your wrist or your hand, or your fingers if you're typing, are doing okay. So the next prompt is that I want you to think about what things about the class were most helpful or influential to you as a writer in your writing process. And so maybe it was the workshops, maybe it was things that you read in class, maybe it was like, remember when I had Deborah Willis come and speak to you? I was really hoping to have more writers come and speak to our class over the course of the term, and then, of course, that couldn't happen. So what specific things in the class helped you as a writer? Maybe you made some discoveries, or you learned some things, or you developed some new tools or strategies. What specific things in the class did you find helpful to you as a writer? So I want you to write about that for 3 minutes if you can, and pause me now. Okay. Unpause. I don't know if you can hear that, but it sounds like my laptop is like running really loudly, so I hope that's not distracting. But you can always pause me while you're writing. Okay, so the fourth prompt, I want you to think about the pieces that you are including in your final portfolio. And maybe it's just one piece. Maybe you expanded your fiction assignment or nonfiction assignment to the full 12 pages. Maybe you're including your fiction story and then a couple of poems. But probably you're choosing the pieces of writing that you are most proud of, that you feel that you were most successful with. Okay, so I want you to think about and write on why did you choose, or why are you choosing the pieces that you've chosen? Why are they your most successful or effective or strongest pieces? What do you like most about them? Why are you the most proud of those pieces? Okay, so writing on that, and try to be as specific as you can. So if you're like, oh, I really like the metaphors I was using. For example, like this one, or, you know, I thought that the structure I chose for my story was really effective. My dog's making more stuff. Sorry. He's a really loud multi-poo today. Okay, sorry. Okay, so what specifically do you feel really are your strengths in the pieces that you've chosen? Why have you chosen those specific pieces? Pause me now. Okay. So I'm hoping you just wrote for 3 minutes on the strengths of what you chose for the final portfolio. Now I want you to write about how you revised your work over the course of the term. So what revisions did you make and why? Was it based on feedback that I gave you? Was it feedback that classmates gave you in workshop? Was it just like, you know, after you came to it weeks later with fresh eyes, you had new ideas about what to include and how to change your work? So what specific revisions did you do, and why did you do those revisions? So how does the piece look different from the time you handed it in to now when you're going to submit it for final portfolio? So how does it look different? What revisions did you make? And then why did you make those revisions? Why did you think that those would be effective revisions to make? Pause me now and write on this for 3 minutes. Okay, so I've had you write now for a total of 12 minutes. And hopefully that means that you have at least a couple of pages for thinking about your reflective letter for your final portfolio. So I'm hoping that this was a little bit of a useful exercise in terms of brainstorming. I don't recommend just handing in whatever you just wrote in the past 12 minutes, because that's a first draft. But maybe you can go through right now and choose your favorite sentences, choose your favorite ideas or lines that you wrote that you think are promising, that you might want to expand on or include in the final portfolio. And it'll probably need some finessing in terms of transitions from part to part, because probably you were like writing on one subject and then totally switching to another subject. So think about how to have smooth transitions. Remember that it's always a good idea to be specific, thorough, and detailed. So rather than just say, you know, I expanded the story. Those were my revisions, right? Why? What did you expand? How did you expand? What did you add specifically? Why was that a good idea? What does it bring to the text? How is that different in terms of the reading experience now? So be specific, thorough, and detailed. That's how to do well on this reflective letter portion of the final portfolio. Also, the final portfolio reflective letter is not a place where you need to feel like you need to talk about how great the class was. Okay, if you did find the class great, I'm really glad, and you can always talk about that in your student evaluations. But I'm more interested in you as a writer and your progress and your process and your edits and your revisions and your own work and why you're proud of yourself than I am in hearing about, the class being great. So just don't feel like you have to like praise the class to do well, okay? Or that you need to like flatter me to do well in this assignment. So you don't. If you want to talk about things that were effective in the class in terms of how they affected you as a writer, then that's totally cool. I just don't want people feeling like, oh, if I don't say nice things about the class, I'm going to do poorly on the assignment. So just know that that's not a requirement, okay? Okay, well, I hope this video was helpful. I hope that you did do 12 minutes of writing, and I hope that you are now well on your way to writing your reflective letter.